Now that you know how to control the pencil and how to use the pressure to create different values of line to draw circles, ovals, straight lines, curvy lines, and your eyes, mind, and hands are working together, I think it's time to get started on fashion illustration. The method that I will be sharing with you today is called 9-head fashion figure drawing. What that means is that basically you're going to draw the model a little taller than the natural height of a regular human being. In natural form, humans are anywhere from 7.5 to 8 heads, meaning if I take my head, if we consider this is one head, and if I repeat that 7.5 to 8 times down my body, that gives you my full height. In fashion illustration, we do that by repeating the head 9, 10, 11, and sometimes even 12 heads. I personally choose to stick with 9 heads. I think it's more natural, and when I have an idea and sketch it, I like to be able to make the pattern and cut and sew that garment, and eventually I like my model on the fashion runway looks the same as my original sketch, right? But if it's 12 heads, it might be very gorgeous and I might have a wonderful, beautiful sketch, but in reality, there's really no human being that is 12 heads, so it doesn't really look that real. So I think it all goes back to the style of the illustrator. As an illustrator, you could choose to have certain styles, and really one of the reasons that people exaggerate on height is that, so you can choose to have really tall and skinny models, you could choose to have really large eyes, long eyelashes, or maybe all of your models like to wear a pair of sunglasses, or a hat, or certain type of high heel shoes. That goes back to the style of the illustrator. So that's one of the reasons that people exaggerate in fashion. And the second reason, I would say it's because it gives you a little bit more room to show your design idea. For myself, 9-head is perfect. It gives me a little bit of extra space to show off whatever idea I have, and also it's not too unusual. And by the time that I get to finish my actual product, it will still look like this, look the same as my original sketch. I think that's all I wanted to share with you, and I think we're ready to get started on our actual illustration. We're going to look at drawing the models and tilting their shoulders, waist, and hips. You can start moving the legs and arms. We also look at using compass as our measuring tools and using arms and legs. I have a quick sketch done here for you, so you're going to look at that technique. Then you're going to be talking about the division of the lines, and then how we are going to mark different parts of the body. And I'll look at the templates I designed for you, and I'll tell you how you can use that one. And also, this is the last template I made. It's for moving your arms and legs in the case that you don't have access to compass. To get us started, I'm going to just quickly take a look at one of our models to give you a preview of what we'll be doing. So in this fashion model, you can see that there's a center line, and we have different parts from 0 to 9. And in the next little while, I'll tell you how we're going to make those divisions. Now, starting from scratch, I kind of did this ahead of time. So I have this line drawn, and I have all the information. But maybe I'll just use it as a reference so you know where I'm going with this, but also you see how to get started from the scratch. Okay, let's start this. As a beginner, I recommend that you use a ruler to make your divisions, but also I will show you a method that you could use once you gain a little more experience and divide your lines without using a ruler. Now, to quickly draw a line, you're going to have 9 equal parts. Good. And I guess I just use 1 inch for each division in this case, and that's 1, and 9. There we go. Once you have your divisions, I guess I forgot to draw my main line. That could be very helpful. Yes, of course, draw the straight line and then make your divisions. Now that one is going to be 0. You're going to draw horizontal line here, because in a minute you're going to mark the width of your shoulder, waist, hips, knees, different parts. So you need to have the width for them, right? 2, 3, 4, and 9. Now before I go any further, I'm going to quickly show you the method I've been using for a very long time. Say you're outside and you don't have access to your ruler, and this is what you're going to be doing. So we're going to draw a line, and first we're going to divide it into 8 equal parts by using our eyes as reference with no ruler, and then we're going to add the 9 parts. So this is my 0, and then I guess I'm just gonna end it here because I'll run out of paper if I keep it at that point. So this would be my number 8. By eyeballing it, you should be able to locate the center of this line. Now you have 2 equal parts. Again, you're going to repeat that for the upper part and the lower part. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. Repeat that for each section again. And there you should have your 8 parts, right? Quickly draw your horizontal lines. And then, well, you're going to take one of those and repeat it at the bottom, which I already kind of did it ahead of time. But you're not including that in your calculation. So you're doing 8 parts and then you add another one, and that is our 9, right? Now that we have that, we could look at drawing different parts. I could use either of them. They're pretty good. Both of them are good. As a reference, I'm going to keep this on the side of my page so you can see what I'm referring to. So for example, for 0, it's going to be top of the head, right? And 1 is chin. That means between 0 and 1, I'm going to have my head. Now, as you can see, I'm using a mechanical pencil, and that is fine for this practice. You could also use your regular sketching or regular drawing pencil. Maybe I switch out. There you go, right? And then that would be your head. So this is top of your head. I'm not gonna write them in favor of time. So top of the head is 0. 1 is chin. Number 1 and 1/3 is going to be your shoulder line. So what you do between 1 and 2, you're going to divide this into 3 equal parts, right? And you draw a line at 1 and 1/3. So that will be our shoulder line. I'll talk about the width after I finish all the height divisions. Then we have number 2, which is your bust line and also under the arm. So at number 2, we are going to have under the arm starting here, and then we also have the bust line. Number 3 is your waist and elbow. Both of them are happening at the same location. So 3 is waist and elbow. And then we have 3.5. Between 3 and 4, you will divide this into 2 equal parts. Draw your horizontal line, and this would be your hip line, 3.5. So if you repeat this a few times, you will memorize all those divisions. But don't worry about it right away. I mean, it comes with experience and practice. Then we have number 4, which is where the legs start, or groin area. 4.5. Again, you're going to divide between 4 and 5 into half. 4.5 is your wrist area, so your wrist will be here. Number 5 is where your fingertips located. Number 6 is your knee line. Your knees will be happening here. 7 is really nothing. 8 is your ankle line, and 9 is your feet. Okay, now that we have that, I'm gonna move this a little over. I hope it stays in the camera. And I'm gonna quickly talk about how to draw different parts of the body. Before we do that, actually, we need to do all the width. The shoulder width is usually 1.5 head in female and 2 heads in male, but every human being has a different proportion. So we just stick with this as a general rule, but you're always welcome to modify that as you need to, or as you go to draw different type of people. So if that's 1 head, this is going to be 1.5 head, meaning I'm going to mark about like 1 head. If I want to visualize it, there we go. So we have 1 head here, and then 1/4 of it on either side. How that works is that you could divide, if you're using your ruler, you could just use it precisely. You could divide the face or the head into 4 equal parts, and you're going to take 1/4 and extend on one side, and then another one on this side. So this should be a good width for your model, since we're doing female figure right now. And then your waist at number 3 is going to be about 1 head. So again, you could use your ruler and say if this is 1 head about there, you could actually mark it and you could erase that after. And then you're going to have that in the middle. I'm so used to eyeballing things, so I don't usually do this, but it is a good idea to start dividing your line using a ruler and then make all of these measurements with your ruler. It is a good idea. All right, and this is our waistline. Then we're going to measure our hips. Hips are usually the same width as your shoulder. So if you bring down the width from the shoulder, that will give you your hips. Okay, let's join this together. Very simple. We are not doing anything fancy, and we are not shaping this. This is a stage 1. In a stage 2, we are going to put a paper on top and trace it to a nicer sketch. And between 3.5, which is your hips, and where the legs start, we shape a little triangle. There you go. Now, number 6 is our knee location. So I recommend to do a little circle there, and 8 is where the ankles are. So the circles will be a little smaller. Between this hip line, like where it's out, and the groin, we're going to find the middle part. Again, you could either use the ruler or eyeball it. So once you have that, that line is going to go from here to the middle of that circle, to the middle of this other circle. Now on the outside, we are going to start from here, going to the outside of that circle, and here we go out a little, coming back in. There, and then for the feet, just have a general shape for now. Don't worry too much about this. We are going to repeat the same thing on the other side. So we are going to find the center of the leg, joining. Now this line moves, of course, because you'll see in a minute when we start to move the legs, that main line would be your main line where you move around. Very simple, right? And don't worry about making it perfect. As you see, mine is not even perfect. It's just for us as a guide, so we can refer to this and use this mother template, if you call it so, and then we're going to trace over top of this and make different new models. And then I'm just going to draw a line for the neck. There you go. For the arms, we have similar idea as the legs. So right at the shoulder line, here we have another circle. Then let's take a look. Our elbow was located at number 3, which is here. So I'm going to have that there. 4.5 was our wrist, and this is our fingertips. And that's on the outside of the arm, you start from the shoulder. For the inside, you start from number 2, right? So we already marked it at bust and underarm. You start here. There you go. And again, don't worry about drawing the hand perfectly, because we will look at that in details in fashion illustration too. Okay, so this is not too bad. It's a quick sketch, and it gives us some idea of where things are gonna go. Also, for the bust line, you could recommend a shadow here, right under 2, and that's it.